So I'm just going to put this out there. It's a take that I don't necessarily, it's something I don't think is going to happen, but I'm seeing more and more people talk about it, and I think that it's more so a knee-jerk reaction to Teresa Weatherspoon being fired. I don't think it's like not based in reality, like based on anything we've seen. And I think that it is something that it wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world if it happened, but it still would surprise me. And that's Angel Reese being traded. One, I don't think it happens this year. I don't think it happens this year, and I don't think it happens before 2026 because these rookie contracts are gold dust. A rookie contract before 2026, when there's potential that players could make $1 million a year, having somebody for under 100K that's going to realistically, even if you're good, be at worst your fourth best player, is gold dust. So I don't think like these rookie contracts are worth so much money in the long term. Like they are worth their weight in gold. So I don't think it's going to happen. But a big reason is that obviously with the way the game is going, two bigs isn't going to work. Unless like one of the bigs is Alyssa Thomas and you're a drag them down team. Like in fairness, the Sky were a drag them down team at the start of the year. They dragged teams down to their level and were good at it. But like unless you've got Alyssa Thomas, so you look at the team still in the playoffs, you've got the Minnesota Lynx who don't even have a center. Like Alana Smith or Fee Collier, basically, you could argue either of those is their center. The Liberty have got 5 shooters on the floor at all times. The Aces, unless Kia Stokes the only player on their roster that can't shoot the ball. And then you've got the Sky, who have 2 players that can't even make a mid-range shot. Like, I get it. Cardoso hit that 1-3 in college. Angel Reese went 3 for 15 or something on the year from 3. Like Angel Reese, she's both of these players are mechanically bad shooters. Like Angel Reese claps her hands together when she shoots. It's going to take years for her to develop a 3-point shot. But for me, it's the most important thing is for her to do some micro drills. Like, yeah, it's going to be great to develop a 3-point shot, develop a mid-range shot, but develop the layup first. Like work from inside out, because I think what could be a problem with Angel Reese is she starts to focus on making more mid-range and 3-point shots rather than focusing on fixing her mechanics. Like, I think it's going to take a year, 2 years to fix those mechanics. And in those couple of years, not too many jump shots. And when the mechanics are fixed, then you can start to try to focus on making more shots. But if you're going to make more practice with bad mechanics, it's going to be really hard when it comes into a game, especially when you're off a little bit. But, yeah, so for me, that's just my opinion. Is I don't think Camila Cardoso and Angel Reese are going to work together long term, because it's just, for lack of a better word, it's prehistoric basketball. Everything we have learned about the sport of basketball over the last 20 years will tell you that 2 inside bigs without both of them being elite passers isn't going to work. Camila Cardoso is a passable passer. Angel Reese is a bad passer. Angel Reese seals really well. That's probably her biggest asset. But she is a 5. She just is a 5. And you might be saying, oh, but she's only 6'3", she's too small to be a 5. I don't care about what the height says. She's the same height as whatever height Aaliyah Boston is. Angel Reese probably the same height as Aaliyah Boston. Cameron Brink says she's 6'4". Cameron Brink's about 6'7". But you're looking at these teams and the way teams are going. Jonquel Jones obviously is big, but Asia Wilson is no bigger than Angel Reese. She's playing center. You've got Alana Smith playing center. She's playing center for one team. And Bree Jones obviously isn't even that much bigger than Angel Reese either. So these really big, tall centers, none of their teams won in the playoffs. None of the teams with dominant centers other than Angel Wilson, not our dominant centers really, but the 6'7" post-up centers. You're not seeing Tiara McCowan in the playoffs. You're not seeing you're not even seeing Brittany Griner in the playoffs. She's 6'9". So the reality of the situation is Angel Reese is probably best as a center. So I don't know what the Sky are going to do, but trading Angel Reese, a lot of people are like, what is her trade value? Angel Reese's trade value is, let's just say, trying to get a team that could maybe match contracts with her. Her trade value is Ryan Howard. That, for me, that would be, if you're the Chicago Sky and you got offered Ryan Howard for Angel Reese, I'd probably take it on for basketball reasons. just because I think Ryan Howard, because I don't know what's going on with Kennedy Carter. I don't even know if they're going to keep Kennedy Carter without Teresa Weatherspoon. But I don't know how Angel Reese is going to be without Teresa Weatherspoon. Because sometimes when we talk about good and bad coaches for young players, sometimes the best coaches for young players are not good basketball coaches, if you get me. Sometimes the best coaches for young players are the ones that can get their confidence up, are the ones that can kind of make sure they stay focused, are the ones that maybe give them a little bit of freedom to play, probably give them a role maybe bigger than they should ever have. And that's what I think Teresa Weatherspoon was for an Angel Reese, for a Kennedy Carter. Well, is she the best basketball coach in the world? By the looks of things, no. Did she play a prehistoric offense? By the looks of things, yes. Was there locker room issues? Yes. But what she did do was get the best out of 2 of her 3 best players. Marina Mabrey was probably the best player on that team in hindsight. But she got the best out of Kennedy Carter and she got the best out of Angel Reese. And the problem is now is a new coach comes in and almost certainly relegates Angel Reese to a sealer and offensive rebounder. They relegate Angel Reese to an on-ball defender. And she's not going to get those touches. We can maybe argue whether she should or shouldn't get those touches. But the issue is that she is going to become a role player next year. She's going to be one of the best role players in the W, I think. But I think she's going to become a role player. There's not going to be another coach that gives her that sort of freedom. And I think the organization is not even likely necessarily going to be trying to move on with Angel Reese as their number one option. Because if your goal was, we're building around Angel, you don't get rid of the coach. The only coach in the W to would have started Angel. You don't do that. Like, you don't get rid of the coach that wanted her. You don't get rid of the coach that, like, really was pushing for her to play more minutes, to have a bigger role in the offense. You don't get rid of that. Like, I think they're going to be moving a different direction how they're building. And this is a team, stupidly, that is refusing to want to rebuild. They're talking about how we want to be in the playoffs again next year. But the reality is it's going to be way harder to make the playoffs next year. The league's getting better and better. Players are not going to retire. Like, players aren't going to retire or walk away unless players are going to go over to Europe and not come back because of the huge potential in that 2026 free agency. Nobody is going to retire before then, other than maybe Taurasi. Like, heck, I wouldn't be surprised to see Tina Charles hang on. Duana Bonner's probably going to hang on until 2026 for one big paycheck year. And these players are hanging on. There's very few players that are being phased out of the league that are good players, but yet there's rookie classes coming in that are more talented than ever before. This year might have one of the deepest draft classes. So the level of teams, the Sky are not going to be as good as the Mystics. The Sky are not going to be as good. If the Sky lose Kennedy Carter, pardon my language, but to be fair, I've never had much of a filter, they're fucked. They're absolutely screwed. Like, if Kennedy Carter's gone, they are screwed. They're absolutely screwed. And because who's going to create anything? Like, whatever coach comes in, it's going to be shambolic. It's going to be absolutely shambolic. But whatever coach comes in is going to make a decision. Angel Reese or Camila Cardoso. And the only coach I think that would have played both of them, they just fired her. So I don't actually think the long-term goal is to build around these. I think maybe in the short term, they've doubled their ticket prices. They probably can't trade Angel Reese this offseason. But I can see them looking to do it for basketball reasons. Because I think her value is way higher than Camila Cardoso's on the trade market. And I just don't see. Everything we've learned from 20 years of basketball will tell you that an Angel Reese, Camila Cardoso 4-5 combination will not work. Unless somehow she fixes her jump shot, which I don't think is going to happen, or somehow Cardoso fixes her jump shot, which is not going to happen in off-season. People thinking people learn how to shoot in one off-season, it's going to take 4 or 5 years. So, do I think Angel Reese is going to end up getting traded? Short term, no. She'll be there next year. But coming into that 2026 season, you can get, I'm not joking, you will be able to get an all-star level player. Let's just say a hypothetical. Let me just think of a team that might need an Angel Reese who's got a shooting big. If Washington, let's say Washington hypothetically, Steph Dolson is hooping and Shakira Austin's struggling a little bit with injury issues. So Shakira Austin's coming off the bench. And then Washington somehow get in the draft. I'm just trying to think who they could get in this year's draft. Let's say they fall to 3 and they get Olivia Miles. Like, do they have 2 lottery picks? Yeah, Washington have 2 lottery picks. Let's just say they get, screw it, they get Paige Beckers and then use the 4th pick on something like a Sonia Citron. They do something along those lines. Like, they get, oh no, the Dream made the playoffs. Right? Or they, at 6, they get Sonia Citron. And it turns out that, like, Citron's averaging like 8 points a game, a really good rookie. You might see, like, Shakira Austin coming into next season. Shakira Austin, Sonia Citron, and a pick, and 2 picks for Angel Reese. Where you've now got, like, an Angel Reese, Steph Dolson, which is a perfect 4-5 combination. She's back in Washington, which is obviously where she's from. It's a big deal. She's playing with Paige. And you've got the likes of Ariel Atkins and Brittany Sykes on the 2 wings, where Angel Reese can be the 4th option and play her role and be that lockdown defender, guarding the other team's best 4-5. That's a championship team. That is a championship team. But, and then also if you are the Chicago Sky, you have gotten yourself like a Sonia Citron type player. You've got some extra picks. The fit might not quite be there with Shakira Austin and Camila Cardoso, but you can try to find like a stretch 4 and bring Austin off the bench, and you could have a really strong team as well. But that's just not going to happen for another year. This season is going to be really important for Chicago Sky because I think if they were all in on Cardoso and Reese as a combination, not all in. I think they're all in on one of them, by the way. I think they're all in on one of Cardoso and Reese. I just don't know who it is. We don't know which one it is. I think if they were all in on both of them, they would not have fired Teresa Weatherspoon. If they were all in on Cardoso and Reese, especially because like in some of the exit interviews, a lot of people were like complaining about the coach. I think the problem is that when the vets, like I know Chicago Sky fans hate their vets, but when the vets are questioning the coach's decisions, there are some people, some GMs, some people in front offices, especially like their GM who was working with James Wade, who was like used to success. When the vets have a problem with a coach, it can sometimes, like, it's either going to be one of 2 things. Either the team is going to get rid of all the vets and go young, or the team is going to get rid of the coach and try to get some sort of something else back. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That is my opinion. I think it's unlikely they trade Angel Reese. It could very well happen. I think maybe you could argue it's more likely Cardoso gets traded, which I understand as well. But yeah, I do think that I don't think we go into the 2026 season. Next season, we're going to see both of them there. I don't think we go into the 2026 season with Camila Cardoso and Angel Reese playing together on the same team. That's just my opinion because everything, like, look, I've watched as much basketball if at all levels. Like, I coach in technically a pro league in Ireland. Like, I coach over here. I watched every level of basketball, whether it be low-level pro in Ireland to EuroLeague to NBA, WNBA. Basically, any NBA and any league an Irish player has ever been in, I'll watch those games. NCAA, D1, D2, D3 for scouting reasons. At every level of basketball, the double bigs doesn't work. So it's very unlikely that the 2 of them are going to work. So anyway, that's the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.